Welcome to this place where we have a tiger. And here it is, with the piggy that it's totally not going to eat. Yep, so we're just going to resave this. We can see the happy little tongue that looks more like a tongue now. And we'll pass that on over so that it can be seen on the main Dwarven stream. Like this. There, he's got a more visible tongue. So we're going to look at our options and figure out what's going to be the next thing to draw. There's a lot of things it could be. Like we're starting the ballista action. Oh, a section of the cavern has collapsed. That's always exciting. Can be dangerous. Let's just take a look. Hopefully none of our important dwarves are injured. We'll go forward in super slow motion. Oh, it's up here. Somebody, oh, Meng is knocked unconscious. Yeah, that could be bad news. Let's check on Meng. No job. Any injuries? No injuries at the moment. That's good to see. Okay, so we'll let this proceed. Oh, there's that. It's a big pile of dust going out from there. Wow. It looks like they weren't hurt though. It's a little unclear. Oh, Meng's head was hurt. And the other one, Ustooth, newly read. They're fine. Maybe we'll try Ustooth being overwhelmed with this unexpected collapse or cave-in. Let's see, how long does it take them to get up? It's unpaused. As you can see, all the other dwarves are mining away. Meng and Ustooth are there, lying on the ground. Oh, there, they started moving. Yeah, Meng, you're fine. Hopefully. Let's see what they're thinking. Annoyed after choking on dust. Confused after being knocked out. Meng is one of our favorite dwarves. As you can see, we have a picture of Meng. Let's just get that up. Actually, it's a little bit more difficult than we were thinking, but we can totally still do it. So let's unpause, let time proceed. We'll grab little Meng. Yeah, shown here, crying and mining. But he didn't cry this time, as far as we know. Let's check on Meng just to see if he's crying. He's going to eat, so he's fine. Oh yeah, his head's back to normal. And well, he's coated in clay, actually, this time. He's got clay all over his body. Clay and marble, wow. So that might be a fun one to draw. Let's check out Ustooth, the one that was with Meng in that collapse. Ustooth O'Neilly Reed. So Ustooth, yep, covered in clay. Let's see which body parts. Eyelids, teeth, lips, toes. Presumably the arms and body too. So yeah, Ustooth is having some issues. It's another male. We were kind of hoping we'd have a female dwarf here, so we could have an excuse to draw a female, because we've apparently drawn all male dwarves so far, except for Ryzen with her pig that she's milking. But yeah, let's maybe draw Ustooth coated from head to toe in fire clay. It's a little funnier with Meng because he's covered in marble as well, so it's white. This one's just red, but that's okay. It is a little worrying though. Why did it collapse? Are we digging from too far below? Oh yeah, there is another layer up here being dug. That's probably why. So we're gonna just, instead of setting this to level 2 designation, we're gonna set this to a lower priority than the stuff above. It appears that we accidentally set them to dig the lower level first, and then they were clearing out the upper level, which probably is what caused the cave-in. Oops. So let's take a look at Ustooth, and then we can get a little picture going of them. So we'll go, first we'll zoom in, so we can get this in nice big text there. So Ustooth is 71, and he's got these features. So this humble dwarf is gonna stick that over in a paint window so that we can easily reference it. Oops, good old Windows. Wait, minimizes everything when you shake something. Okay, it's back. And then we're gonna go and check out another aspect of Ustooth, which is their equipment, his equipment. So he's wearing all this stuff, and we're just gonna print our screen and do the same thing. Bring it over into Paint, which you, of course, can't see, but know that it is being done. You know all too well. Okay, so we've got part 1 of equipment, and then we'll go down part 2. Oh, actually, it's just one part. Aside from that, it's all a coating of fire clay, which we'll remember. So let's get that going. Oostooth, you're going to pick up your equipment. Let's take a look at that. So we're going to view the unit. Nope, go to the unit. And we're going to follow Oostooth and just watch him go get his gear while we start drawing a picture. And this is our picture drawing app. So let's see, basic information about Oostooth. His hair is amber, his skin is peach, so he's kind of the same color as Onal down here, except Onal was a light peach. So Oostooth is going to be a slightly darker peach, because he's just peach, not light peach. And he's going to be drawn as terrifiedly choking and being blown back by a pile of dust, specifically fire clay dust. So we'll have him kind of like cringing back. We'll put his arm up in front of his face. There's his little hand. And then we'll do his other arm in front, and we'll make it a little darker so that it stands out. And that's going to be the arm holding the pickaxe. So we can draw the pickaxe. And what material is it made of, you ask? Actually, he dropped it. Oh, it's copper. It's his copper pick. So he didn't drop it. Okay, and we'll give him a little pickaxe there. Nice big dwarven pickaxe there. Kind of doing it so it doesn't block his hand or his head. Yeah, that'll work. And then we can put his face down here. And he's like, ugh, dust. And now we'll start thinking about what his clothes are. Although maybe we just draw them all as kind of coated in this red dust, because that's what it is, fire clay. Maybe fire clay is a real life thing. Let's just kind of get an idea of what fire clay looks like. So it's red, kind of light pink actually. It's almost the same color as his skin. So we'll just kind of draw it like that. And he's wearing all the normal stuff, a wool cap, actually only one sock. Yeah, he's only got one sock. Well, that's a little weird. He's wearing a donkey bone crown. Let's just put that in now before we forget about it. Donkey bone crown for Oostooth. So there, crown of bones. Okay. And we'll check his eye color and stuff like that. Does he have emerald eyes like all our dwarves? Yep. Slightly rounded and deeply sunken are his emerald eyes. So let's do those right there. He's going to be kind of squinting with this fire clay that's being blown in his face, and doing that with his eyebrows because he also doesn't like fire clay being blown in his face. His hair is amber. Now you might know what amber color is, but we're going to check just to make sure. So it's actually this color, yellow. So he's going to have light yellow hair, or orangey yellow, and pretty bright colored. So now his hairstyle, it's medium length, sideburns. His hair is straight. His mustache is long. And it looks like his hair is all combed except for his beard, which is long and double braided. So mustache, double braided beard, and sideburns. Sideburns are also medium length, so it's all medium length except for his beard is long, not very long, but long. So we'll do it to there, just past the kind of to his chest length. So we like to draw our long beards going down very, very far. Now we're gonna go with his clothes. Maybe we'll just draw the top half of him because that happened by accident, but it seems like that's all we really need. So he's got cave spider silk gloves. What about mittens? He's got yak leather left mitten. Apparently no right mitten. Oh yeah, there it is, sheeple. So he's actually wearing a mismatched pair of mittens. So leather mitten on the left, which will be more brown, and a wool mitten on the right, which we will start drawing in just a second. So let's get a wool color. It's going to be a kind of light yellow or tan. There, that's maybe a little too yellow. Let's do it a bit less yellow. There. So there are the mittens. Dwarves with their mittens, always wearing gloves and mittens, no matter where they are, not even if it's hot, even when they're inside. They just have to do that. And he's got a leopard leather hood seemingly over his donkey bone crown, which is over his alpaca wool cap. And use this for the wool cap, and we'll put a little shade under it like this. And then he's got a hood of leather, slightly different color or type of leather, which he actually wears over that. Maybe we'll just do him with his hood down. He didn't have to have the hood up all the time. So there's the hood. Yeah. Okay, and then we'll do kind of the back of his head. There's his amber hair, which probably should be a little more orange. Like this. So there you go. Stooth's orange hair, and he's got the braid thing going on. Just for the beard, double braided beard, and regular mustache, neatly combed sideburns. There it is, all of it, all the hairy loose tooth hair. Okay, we'll do some whites of his eyes. He's going to be kind of just like looking up in exasperation at the massive fire clay that's coming at him. Kind of squinting his eyes in horror in an attempt to shield his eyes from that terrifying cloud of dirt that makes them feel some kind of emotion. We can actually tell exactly what emotion it makes them feel. Not gratitude, remembering receiving water. Oh, looks like he's already gotten over it. Maybe he wasn't as bothered by the spray as Meng was. But anyway, we'll just keep on watching him work. Oh, nice. The dwarf has become an axe lord. That's good news. Means they're getting very good with those axes. Okay, so let's get this peach skin in place. Some dark shadows under the nose and the eyes. Maybe on this side under the hair. And then we should start drawing like a spray of clay spray all over him. So we don't have any special brushes for that, so we'll just kind of do mid opacity. There's the spray of clay. So we're just kind of spraying like this. This will be like a cloud. There, and we'll work on this in a bit. We're going to add a lot more details of other clothes and such, but it's all going to be under this coating of clay. So it's everything in this picture is coated in fire clay dust, just like his tooth. Okay, so let's give him his leather hat that he's been waiting for. It would have been easier to draw the clothes first and the clay second, but this works too. This will give us kind of a color to draw from for the clay. Oh right, we made his hood, not on his head. Okay, so we'll do the hair up here, and kind of give him the top of the head. And we'll just do a little yellow to highlight it, and a little dark orangey color to, this will represent the shadows in his mustache and his hair. His mustache. There you go, and we can use it to suggest these braids, as we like to do with these lines that kind of crisscross. That makes it look sort of like a braid. Great, the hair just needs some highlights, so go into the light yellow and do that. There we go. This is just going dust. He's probably going to feel a little annoyed being caught in dust underground. Okay, let's highlight the crown. The donkey bone crown. Very classy, Eustace. Much appreciated. Okay, and highlight it, shade it. You know the drill. That's how it goes. Okay. His mouth shouldn't be open because it's going to be filled with dust, but it's just a reflex. Must be made him do that. So poor Eustace, he's going to be breathing in this pink dust. His tongue's already pink, like it's covered in the dust. Okay, there. And we'll do his eyebrows, which he has. I'm trying to make it look expressive where we can. Maybe this should be a little higher eyebrow. Like that. It's irate eyebrows. Okay, some dark shadow. Put that on there. And do this. There, so he's starting to have a shape to his eyes. Now we can use half opacity to kind of blend this just a bit. We're not going to do much blending. Trying to keep it straightforward and quick, but just enough to kind of give it the slightest shape, like so. Okay, and then we're going to do a nice little highlight here, like that. Give this peach skin some highlights, and then make the eyebrows a bit more amber to match his hair color. There you go. He's going, Okay, we're going to do a slight bit more shade in the mouth to kind of give that some definition. And a highlight on the tongue. Should have kept your mouth shut, Eustace. Okay, there. He's got a little more shade around his beard. There. Okay, now we need to solidify this pickaxe, because it currently looks like a blob, but that's because it's not finished. So, try to make it straighter too while we're at it. Because it's looking a little bendy, to be honest. A little wobbly, which, you know, needs to be firm and strong to cut that rock. Break those boulders. Okay, we'll give it an underside. And a shadow here. Shadow around the hand. And then that nice bright light to set it off. Do the yellow. Even though it's going to be almost pure white, so you can't really see that it's yellow. But there's that. Here we go. And then kind of a little more shading right next to there. So that, and then probably we want to just increase the saturation with this orange color. Not too much, kind of blend her in. And then we can do a slight edge highlight back here. There, like that. Yeah, just a slight one, and then we'll shape it. So we've been making it a weird, wonky shape, and this will make it more straight, hard-edged. Do that by overlaying with the background color too. As you can see, it's just running around happily as if nothing ever happened, and hopefully nothing will happen again with our improved setup so that they don't have such messes of dust coming down to coat their faces at all the worst times. So there we go. And you know that dust can be fatal. That's actually the way that we lost a dwarf early on in the fortress. Just sometimes cave-ins can lead to unexpected demise of a dwarf. Okay, so we're gonna quickly, without getting in much detail at all, do his robe. Looks like he's wearing a cave spider silk robe and a giant cave spider silk cloak. So he's gonna kind of be wearing a light gray colored clothing set. And that is a good sort of base for us to, well, to make it look all pink and messy too. So it's going to be gray on the one side and pink on the dust side, essentially. So we can actually just go straight into blending now. We've got our gray, we've got our pink. Use this for a shadow color. Toss it in there. We need a darker shadow color too, which while we're at it, we'll just grab one of those. Pretty dark one. Get some contrast up in here. Really likes contrast, even if you don't know what it is. Of course, by now you do know what it is. So we're making light and dark. Okay, So there's that. And we did say he had a cave spider silk cloak. So we've kind of drawn his hood down here. So he's got the hood, he's got the cloak, he's got it all. Oostooth is a properly equipped dwarf. And we say that, but he's missing a shoe. But, you know, can't have it all sometimes. We should probably deal with the shoe problem, get more of our clothiers, or, you know, have a clothier, and get them pumping out cloth stuff. So we actually have a decent ability to produce cloth with our pigtail, and in fact we even have rope reed production going on in this fort. But we just don't have a lot of clothiers, etc., etc. Clothing is the boringest profession in the game, one of them. But it's also pretty essential. Like your dwarves, you know, they get a little upset when they don't have clothes, or when all the clothes they have are ripped to shreds by the ravages of time, which is what happens. So, okay, there, we'll make this look sort of weird and cloudy and dusty. Dust cloudy, you might say. Okay, it's going to have interesting, because we put it on here, you'll see. It's going to have a slight interesting variation in it, because there's some parts where it's more transparent, and there's some where it's less transparent, clearly. So we can take these lighter colors and kind of mix in some not transparent but lighter colors to create this whole impression of a big cloud of dust blowing into his face. Fire clay dust, which for some reason is pink. Okay, this dude's looking pretty unhappy, which is the way we're trying to get him. So it's just about done, in fact. Yeah, definitely going for a little less detail as we have been doing, which is good. Let's just do more drawings. Last session we had 6 drawings in 3 hours. One before that was about 6 hours, or yeah, 6 hours with 4 drawings. So big difference in the ratio there. Drawings per hour, dwarves per minute. We're trying to increase our dwarves per minute. Also, the other advancement in the dwarves per minute is that we keep the timer going. Not the timer, but the game going while we draw. So that's Oostooth. Poor guy. It wasn't even him who mined this out. He was just there working alongside Meng when Meng triggered the collapse. Of course, it's not Meng's fault. It's all the fault of this humble dwarf. This sometimes failing dwarf. Okay, so let's see. Following Oostooth O'Neilrid. So that will be the name that we're going to save this file as. PNG. Oostooth O'Neilrid in the fire clay collapse. That's the file name. And you know what time it is now. We gotta save it back as an editable for the next time we need to draw some dwarves. Okay, there we go. That's all set. And let's get Oostooth hanging out here with all of our dwarven buddies. So we'll add him in just a moment. Gotta find him. There he is. Okay, you can see he's doing his thing. Getting sprayed with dust. Is that a good spot for him? It's probably a good spot. We're going to make the tiger just a bit smaller, and then Oostooth can chill here on the side, just high enough that he doesn't disturb the tiger. Maybe that's in the way. Oops, we just moved something we shouldn't have moved. Okay, it's seriously going just fine. We'll put him right there. And would you look at that? He's still digging away. Have they finished this floor yet? Probably. Looks like... oh, they haven't done this one. It's probably because it's level 6. Or this is requirement level 5. They may not even be able to reach up here because it's we mined underneath it. Yeah, it looks like actually a lot of that land is no longer there. That's probably what disappeared. Anything that still says it's level 5 priority. I'll zoom in a little more here. Anything that's level 5 priority here is, oh, wow, it's still there. Okay. It could have been that there was no land, but obviously there is. So we're just going to overwrite this with priority 1 channel, which means dwarves, if you are a miner, drop everything and come mine this out. And it's really not that important, but at least this will keep things in a good order. And then the stuff below, which is set to, looks like priority, oh, it's 6, but it can be, we can make it 2, and then they'll do the 1 first, the 2 after, and then go back to mining as usual. Looks like one of our pigs grew up. Now some people are thinking that we should get the pigs a bigger space. And that may be true, because their space is honestly pretty cramped. If you look in here, it's loaded with pigs, but they do have a couple floor tiles, so maybe we'll just put that off for a little longer. But you may have noticed that our title is about getting pumped, so that refers to pumping water, and we're going to just start digging the channel to pump the water so that we can have all our trees get all watered. This is going to be all filled with water just for a moment, and then it's going to grow over with trees and mud that allows it to create trees. So why don't we just go ahead and channel out this area. We don't need this area anymore. We're going to channel down, and we're going to, let's see how many, we're going to make a pathway out to the water. So it looks like we're actually almost there. So this is our fort level. This is the bottom level we're going to channel to. And so once we channel out this entire floor, that'll be the last level, and then it'll be time to start actually pumping the water. So it's okay if we now start getting ready to pump the water, if you know what I mean. So let's do that. But we're gonna just channel out the last couple bits and make this match visually so that it looks good. Now we should probably channel up here first, one would think. We don't want these floors collapsing. So we'll set this to 1. But we basically are just going to make that floor below look a little more pretty and uneven, irregular, if you will, just like we did for all these things. And we can also do a couple more here, just kind of smoothing out the corners so that it looks more natural, even though it's unnatural, but we're kind of creating the impression of a natural cave. That's the idea, making it look cool and dwarfy. And soon it'll be full of trees, just you wait. It's been a project that's been going on for, well, in dwarf terms, quite some number of years. And we're kind of doing it wrong, channeling like that, but it'll work. Not to worry. So we're gonna go ahead and just dig the water channel. So we can start that, let's see. So we've got underground stuff happening there. This is our lower level, so we need to be careful not to cross our water channel over any of these. So maybe what we should do is just have it come straight through the wall here. So up to the cavern, which is going to be on this floor. So this is where our water ultimately needs to get up to. So we're going to have to pump it up from, this is the level underground where the water is. We're going to pump it up to this floor, and then we're going to pump it again up to this floor, which is where it's going to fill the floor with water. So how should we do that? Probably underground is the safest way. We can just build it outside, kind of like start by channeling into the ground here. We'll set this at a little lower priority. So we'll just start with a humble little channel there, and then it's going to go down and it'll dig out this square, and then we can mine sort of a U, a vertical U, or well, that would really be a sideways U. And we should actually do some dwarven U bends too, just to keep any nasty creatures that might find themselves in the river from crawling in and devouring our dwarves, which supposedly happens. It's never happened to this humble dwarf, but it's always good to be prepared. So with that in mind, let's just do a quick dwarven U-bend. So we'll end up pumping the water up to this level. Maybe pump is enough to stop the nastiness, but let's just go ahead and do a regular U-bend. So it's a little complicated, so we'll start it over here. We're at the level of the water, which is 1 level below the world's surface. This is the surface, this is the water below. And you can see there's these tiles full of water on the left. So our special little mine is going to come this way, off of the water. And then it's going to go down, J for downstairs. Okay, it's going to go down to here. This is 1 level below. So we'll do an up-down stair here, which we push I for that. And then this will be an up stair to connect it with that stair we just built above. And then we go over an arbitrary number of squares, and then we'll go up, and it's going to go up just one more, because this is how water works. It goes down 2 and then up 1. Or it could go down 3 and up 2, but it'll never go up anymore. It'll always go up less than it went down, something like that. So we're going to connect this to our little stair we just made there by putting a down stair right here. And then mine it over. And that's actually where we'll put our grate, which will act as a protective U-bend. And then probably the easiest it would be if we just keep our channel a little deeper and do the pumps all in one place. So that's what we'll do. This will be the level where the water comes up to naturally, so that's where we'll keep the water, just like that. We can actually mine out, let's mine this top floor out first, and then we can kind of have a 2 floors high tunnel for no particular reason. This will be level 3, and it goes right over to here. It's going to connect like that. This is where the water's going to be. Oops, that was a undesignate instead of a designate. There we go. Yeah, and then we'll make this, as we were mentioning, make this a level 2. In fact, an easier way would be just to channel this. It can be done in a single step. It can channel out both floors all in one. So that's what we'll do. There, now we won't have to worry about mining below. It will already be mined. It's designated, but it's just going to be channeled through. So below that, then we'll go create another U-bend. Down, okay, up to connect it, mine across, up to connect it, up, down, down, and over to connect it there. So that'll work. It should work very well. And we'll install some grates after the water comes up to this level. We'll install some grates right there and there. And that'll be kind of our water source. So that's part 1 of the pumping action. And we'll get back to that in a minute. Now let's check on our ballistae. That's our other big project. So we don't have a ballista yet, but we're going to build one. And let's see if we have the parts. It still says we need 3 ballista parts. And we did produce some ballista parts. Don't know what those would be under. Probably siege something. We would think it wouldn't be siege ammo, but maybe it's siege something else. So let's see. Yeah, we just have arrows in the siege ammo. Could it be weapon parts? Oh, there's ballista parts. Oh, apparently we have none. How strange, because we did order our dwarves to build some ballista parts. So they're currently assembling arrows, but we really need them to construct parts, which could have sworn we had told them to do that, but we'll do that again. So we're going to need 6 if we're going to do 2 whole ballistas. We can just say do them all now, and then they won't bother doing everything else first. They'll make those before they make the arrows, and maybe we'll have less waiting time too. Let's see, has anybody started to make the ballista parts yet? Hopefully, because we just told them to do it now. But we're not seeing anybody who is assigned to do ballista parts. So that's kind of interesting, but it'll take them a minute usually before they actually can start doing that. That's probably all it is. So we do have somebody set to go fill a pond here, which is kind of silly because we're now making this basically not a pond. We're not going to bother with this little section here. We're just going to make, we're going to use the pumps instead. So we're going to mine all that out. So they should actually start coming to mine this pretty soon. Set it priority level 2. Let's see if they finish their priority 1. No, they're still working on it. Can they even reach up here? It'll be interesting to see if the dwarves can reach up here. They should be able to, probably. It looks like someone's mining there on the lower level. We would have thought that was lower than, priority than 1. But we'll just let the miners kind of figure that out for a little bit. We can consider what are we going to draw for our next drawing. It's currently the 7th of Malachite. That's a month. And Malachite would be the middle of summer. So if there were any humans that were going to come, they would be coming right about now. So they're probably not going to come. We haven't seen any human traders yet, but we can just look around. Let's see where all the humans are. So this is us in our highly secluded little fort. These are elves. Oh, these are humans. Yeah, so it would say that it takes 3 days travel to get there. So you'd think they might come and visit us. Other people have. This is a dwarven fortress. We've had visits from dwarves, and we've had visits from elves. It just sort of seems like the humans don't have much interest for unknown reasons. And there's lots of friendly goblin civilizations out there. At least they're not at war. Oh, they can't cancel and construct ballista parts because they need logs. That's probably what's happening to all these tasks. So we're gonna just make that an order here so it can't be canceled. And we'll say ballista parts, go up there. We're gonna make 6 of them, so we can make 2 ballistae, 3 parts each, and unpause. And then seriously, the dwarves are getting very confused at the lack of trees cut down. So even though you would think that they would be taking these trees, there's logs there. Yeah, why do these dwarves think they don't have logs when there's logs right outside? It could be an issue with our burrows still being set, perhaps. We do have a burrow, but maybe if we remove this burrow, it'll stop. Now see there, we press enter, it restricts them to burrow, and then if we press enter again, there's no burrow restriction. And that's our current alert, so they're not being restricted to any burrows at the moment. And this humble dwarf will take a moment to say thank you to Zombie Giant Sponge for the huge follow. That is much appreciated, and hopefully it'll help you to see when we're on, etc. You can also look at past episodes in the YouTubes below on our panel page. It's the same name. So thank you, Zombie Giant Sponge, for the lovely compliment on this humble dwarf's artwork. And we just noticed that we should put our chat above. There it is. Now we can see what anybody says without the nice artwork getting in the way. So thanks again for that. And we're going to be drawing another picture in about 5 minutes. So if there's anything that you notice that you'd like to see, we do take suggestions. Otherwise, it'll be some kind of default option, which was always interesting. Always something cool and unusual going on in this fort. So back to something not so cool and unusual. We're going to extend a stockpile. Ooh. Yeah, we really need to extend the stockpile. It's going to take 2 times to do it. So this is everything, and we'll do our usual. We should really create a macro for this, so let's do that right now. So our everything stockpile is animals, is not food, is furniture. So we're going to go ahead and enable that, but not, there's one thing it's not, is other large tools. We'll take that out, and we will enable ammo, coins, finished goods, leather, cloth, and those 3 things. And that should be it. So stop recording, save this as create everything stockpile from stockpile settings. Perfect. And then we can more quickly create the next stockpile right here. Just like that. Call it everything, or some mangled spelling of that. And then let's just let the process happen automatically. Take a little stretch. There we go. Okay. Yeah, the stockpile is getting real full. We got some fun little animals. As you can see, our friendly cave spider is there. We also got a troll in a cage. There's the cave spider. We got a gorlak. Oh, goodness. This humble dwarf would have thought gorlaks were friendly and could be treated as allies, but apparently we're keeping one in a cage, so that's inhumane. Maybe we can release it. Let's see, what does the wizard say about gorlaks? Maybe we should draw a gorlak. Poor guy, cannot be tamed. Dwarves like them for their helpful guidance. They're good. So yeah, we should probably not have that in a cage. It says they can sometimes provide stimulating conversation. So we'll figure out a way to release it from its cage. Because we like trapping trolls and things, but Gorlak doesn't really deserve to be here. So we can probably install the cage somewhere. Or we might be able to pasture the gorlak. We'll try doing that. See if it lets us. Even though it's not an animal. There it is, gorlak. Okay, we'll pasture it inside so it can chill with our pigs. And if it actually stays in the pasture, that'd be really weird. But it's a sentient, intelligent creature that apparently we can talk to. So hopefully our dwarves will talk to it once they let it out. Poor guy. And then, or girl, actually. Didn't check the gender of the gorlak. Let's see. See what it can tell us. This yellow G. So it says it's a male gorlak. Okay. Contents gorlak. Enter. There we go. His eyes are red. His skin is goldenrod. Not too much to remember there. But there, we've put that over into our reference item. And why don't we just follow him? Can we follow the gorlak? Probably not because he's in a cage. But we'll follow it. Yeah, at least we can follow the cage. And then we can draw a picture of our little gorlak. It says goldenrod skin and red eyes. His mouth primarily taken up by tusks. So gorlaks are fun because they're just basically a ball with a mouth. Goldenrod. Now goldenrod is a yellow color. We know that. But to get the specific shade of yellow. Okay, it's a kind of, actually it's pretty much this exact shade of yellow that we picked by some fluke. There it is. LaFonda asks, what tile set is that? This would be a custom tile set created from scratch by this humble dwarf. Quite so. We do love to draw pixel art sometimes. And Zombie Giant Sponge is feeling odd, saying, wow. Well, hopefully that's a good wow. We're assuming it is, so thanks for that. And let's make this gorlak go. LaFonda asks, are we drawing the characters? Indeed. Yeah, we're currently drawing our friendly little gorlak who was found in the caverns, found in one of our cage traps. Actually, we didn't notice him until he made his way into our stockpile, our animal stockpile. But despite their scary appearance, gorlaks are apparently quite friendly. So we're gonna kind of draw him in a more sympathetic light. And he's gonna be just crying for help to get out of this cage, which we're about to let him out. He may have already been let out. Oh, no, looks like the cage hasn't moved yet. But yeah, this is our little gorlak. Okay, we'll do his arms, sadly gripping the bars. So here's one hand. There we go. And the other will be right here. Just do a different color so it can kind of stand out. Now it is tough to make to draw the bars of the cage without them getting in the way of everything. Do this kind of go down. There. Like this. And what color, what is this cage made of? We can get this detail right. So, oh, he was taken out of the cage. Okay, it was a nickel cage. So let's see if the gorlak's out and about now. There he is. Yeah, he's wandering, it looks like. Maybe they're going to just repeatedly pull him back into the pen with the pigs. A different kind of imprisonment. That's alright. The Zombie Giant Sponge says, yeah, you made your own tile set. What a power move. It's just great fun. It allows us to express ourselves, you know, with that little friendly little dwarf character. Because the happy faces are great. And like Rug Smash's custom kind of dwarves with beards and hats are also great. But it's cool to have something different, you know. And this humble dwarf just thought 16 by 16. That's a great size for a character. It's kind of small, but not too small for a little detail. And oh no, he's got blood. Yeah, so our dwarves just look like generic little people, and the armed ones have a helmet and a little stick, which could be a spear or a club. It's really fun designing a tile set because you have to make things look like multiple things. Like some things are not even attempted, like the cabinet, which is also a dark goblin pit. I challenge anyone to draw a sprite that looks like both a cabinet and a dark goblin pit. If you can do that, then this humble dwarf will steal your idea and add it to our tile set. But for those ones where it's very, very different things, we just kind of make them look generic. We should do some shading on this guy before he gets too much detail in front of him. But there, so yeah, so for the things that look like two very different things, we just kind of leave it. Like the water, which is also dirt, we just left it with the default water sprite. And then there's some like the backpack, as you see in the rooms. It's like a backpack and a chest and a human village. So we tried to make it kind of look like the pocket is maybe a house, or like the toy. The toy sprite is also used for human villages again. So you try to make something that looks like it could be a toy. Now this guy's looking too angry. We'll try to make him look sad rather than angry. Something that looks like both a toy and a little hamlet. A fun thing to do. And if we see a toy around, you'll get to see what that looks like. It seems to have worked okay. They have red eyes. Okay, we'll zoom like a kind of like a dwarf eye, like not too red, you know. The skin is goldenrod. It doesn't say anything about eyebrows, so we'll just give him kind of lumps on his forehead that represent eyebrows. There. Now he looks a lot more sad. That's more like it. Okay. Although he's not sad anymore. He's been released from the cage, but we're drawing him for we don't know how long he was in this cage before we noticed his plight and decided that this intelligent creature should be set free. It also didn't say anything about a nose. It just said that their main part of their body is taken up by this mouth. So we got the mouth. We got the eyebrows for expressiveness. But we don't technically need a nose, so he's going to be noseless, as all gorlaks are, and Melzophon, whatever this world is called. So yeah, he's just pining away to be back in his cavern home, or at least out where he can have stimulating conversation with the dwarves. Those gorlaks are apparently known for their stimulating conversation. Okay, so let's shade him down a bit around the eyes. Give him something to define his eyes with. This. And then we'll do a bright highlight on the eyes. And don't worry, his yellow of his skin is not going to be all over his teeth. That's just temporary. There. Okay, so he's kind of got eyes. We're going to smooth out his teeth, maybe add a couple more teeth. Like this. Do like a little tooth there. Because they have tusks, so we're assuming they also have large teeth. And also because their mouth takes up most of their head, that implies that maybe their teeth are really big. Plus it's just fun to draw them with big teeth. So this is how we do it. Okay, and we'll do a little shade on this back part and his underside. Give him that dark underside. Okay, and maybe save a little time by locking the transparency here, just so it doesn't go over the edges. Okay, perfect. There. Keeping it simple. Keeping it nice and quick. Just like that. There, he's got a shoulder and underside here. There you go. Like so. This is extra dark. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, it's good to have that really dark color we can mix in, which created by accident. Zombie giant sponge sheds a tear for the poor gorlak. He looks so sad. He is sad, yeah. In fact, why don't we make that a little more obvious? It's crying fat gorlak tears. It's kind of fun to be mean to the dwarves in a way. Now keeping in mind this guy has been rescued, so he's been let out of the cage, so he's no longer suffering, but At first we thought he was just like any other thing from the cave. You know, the dwarves were like, oh, something has gone into our cage trap. Let's put it in the stockpile and forget about it. And he's like, but wait, I just wanted to chat. And, you know, it had a happy ending too, the story. So he made his way out. He gets to have some conversations. Okay, so we're going to smooth his little face just a little bit more because he's very round and ball-like. And then we can amp up the tusks, get them back to looking like tusks. There. And they need a bit of shade on them too. So we'll do that. Starting down here, actually let's do kind of like this. Yeah, a little more brown shaded color on these. And we'll blend it right in. There you go. Okay, get that dark color for the bottom. This can also be our tooth shading colors. There. Just go straight into shading the teeth there. Okay. Yeah, perfect. Or as we like to say, adequate. Okay. Give him the lip. Brighten it up. You probably need a slightly lighter light highlight just to make the bright parts look brighter. We can do a little more darkness in the mouth too while we're at it. A little outline around the bottom of that tusk. There we go. Yeah, he's looking like a gorlak that you might find in a cave underneath Onelzafon. He's definitely caged. Don't let the slight erasure of the bars make you think he's free. Actually, he's free, but wasn't at the time of this photo. So there's that. He's gonna have to have fingers. We presume gorlaks have fingers. Maybe if he was injured, then we would know. And actually, he did have some blood on him, so he's got lower arm, upper arm, both lower arms, both lower leg and upper arm. Where's that blood coming from? Like our yaks actually had some blood on them too, but it's gorlak blood. Like, oh man, there's tiger blood. Jeez, have our animals been fighting? The tiger is fighting. Oh no, the tiger's fighting the gorlak. Okay, this is worrying. Why does our tiger not like our gorlak friend? And the tiger charged the piglet. Maybe we can't trust this tiger. We have a picture of the tiger like eyeing the piglet as if he wants to eat him. And it seems as if that's almost come true. Maybe this tiger needs to be chained up somewhere. Really can't trust him. And the gorlak, the tiger started it. Oh, he did lightly tap. Huh, maybe the tiger's just playing with him. The dog attacked the gorlak, scratched at it. Okay, well, it seems like the gorlak's just gonna die. After all, so much for the happy ending. The tiger's charging at our gem cutter. What is wrong with this tiger? It's supposed to be tame. We bought it from the elves. So, okay, well, that's not great. So let's put the tiger in a cage. Build a restraint. Yeah, this is cutting into our happy little drawing, but apparently the fort's not quite so happy at this moment. So we're going to build a restraint. We're going to put it right close to where the tiger is. Rope or chain? Don't we have a cage? We do have cages. There's got to be a way to build a cage. Maybe it has to be a justice area or something. Okay, that's it. We're just going to chain it outside. Okay, I'll put it right there. Put on a silver chain, and hopefully no one will die before that chain gets built, because this is terrifying. It kind of looks like they're fighting it. Yeah, these are all just sparring, so nobody's fought since the tiger fought, so they're not fighting the gorlak. Maybe they're done play fighting. Because the tiger did just lightly tap the gorlak. It could be that it had no ill intentions after all. Anyway, let's get this gorlak all done out. And Zombie Giant Sponge says they're heading out for now. So thanks for coming in, and much appreciated. And hope to see you again. And thanks for the appreciation of the artwork. So let's get this gorlak into a state or you can call him adequate, and done. Just like that. Those are the tusks. Little slight tooth highlights. There you go. Do some bright colors. Bright highlights there. Nothing too fancy. Maybe a little slight shadow behind it to sort of show that the tusks are casting a shadow maybe on the body. There, like this. As if we're getting really fancy, we start doing cast shadows. Oh, so fancy. Okay, like that. Yes, there we go. Okay. Yeah, so he's just about done. We just need to finish up the cage bars now. His hands are a little rough, actually. Just give him some basic 3-fingered gorlak hands. There you go. 2, 3. Shadow. Shadow down here. Yeah, that's about all we need for hands. About all we need. That's probably all we need. And a bit more work, you can see it is actually all we need. Okay, so let's get these bars done. Okay, we're not going to do the back bars just yet. We'll just do the front bars to start. Lock the transparency to make it easier, and slight bit of bar shading. But we don't want to get in too depth because this could be very detailed. And that would be a problem for the life of our fort. Speaking of which, let's just let the time pass. And we can just pray that nobody gets hurt. See, we thought it was going to be fine, you know? Buy a tiger, presume it's going to be tame, manageable. You can just throw it right in with your pigs and chickens and it won't eat them. That should be how it is. That's how life should be. But sometimes it's not how life is. Sometimes life is harder than that. Yeah, we'll still have to figure out exactly what was going on with the tiger. If anybody ever seems to notice this, watching it, we would much appreciate any information you may have. Leave a comment or something like that. But what is going on with our supposedly tame tiger? Not being so tame after all, at least not treating our dwarves in a tame, or our gorlak, and maybe some other animals in such a tame way. Very distressing, just like this gorlak is experiencing distress. Okay, let's check if that chain has been built. Something just happened. Was it a strange mood? No. Oh, just a cave crocodile reverting to a wild state. That's not worth pausing the game for. But the chain has been made. So let us do make room. Oh, there. Assign animal to chain. Okay. Where's the tiger? Right there. Yeah. Can't trust him anymore. Outside with you. So, yep, it's assigned. Perfect. Okay. So that should take care of that for the moment. It's just looking like he wants a little brighter forehead. Just, you know, let's indulge this gorlak. He's been through a rough time. Give him a bright forehead if he wants it. Okay, there. And a little more there. Okay. And we'll just quickly reuse this color to add a slight bit more. Okay, the cage is just about done. It needs a floor. So we're going to do it on a separate lower layer. And actually his legs can probably be the lower opacity, bigger size. Just make his legs a bit darker and push them into the background. Make them less noticeable. There. Now we'll give him a floor under him, which can be this color. Just like that. A little bit less saturated. There. Okay. So I'll make it big and then we can just erase away some of it. That is the floor. And now we need to put a shadow on it to make it look truly like there's a gorlak there. So the shadow will just kind of go back from his feet and then like this. There. We can actually do some cage bar shadows too, make those a bit smaller. Now really, if we're going to go in all out, we'd have the cage be casting shadows on him. It's kind of scary to even think about. Okay, one for all and all for one. There. There it is. He's in the shade. Okay, that turned out easier than expected. All right. Now we just got to do the back layer of bars. Maybe a slight bit more detail on the floor, just to have the front be a bit lighter. So do this lighter, fuzzy, and lower opacity. Kind of like that. Just like, look, there's light coming through. Okay, and then this will be our cage bars layer at the back. So we'll take a dark color, full opacity, small brush, and just draw a couple bars. Doesn't have to be too precise. There. Those are the back bars. A bit darker at the bottom there. There you go. Okay, we're just going to leave them at that. Let's see how it looks at the background. Yeah, that's acceptable. Something about this shadow is a little messed up. So we'll quickly fix the shadow and then we'll call it done. So, not quite that intense. Probably should follow the shape of it a little more. Sort of like that. There we go. Okay, this is going to be called, in a second, it's going to be called adequate. There he is. Now let's get him ported over for our company, keep our dwarves company. Okay, so we'll give him a little save as a transparent PNG. This will be called captive gorlak. And do what we always do. Save it as an editable file. There we go, and we're ready to head back over here and say hello to our friend, the yellow guy in the cage. There he is. Okay, maybe for now we'll remove our other cave denizen. So let's remove this dwarf. Remove all the pulper for now. We can keep the happy little spider nice and visible. And Ocean Bug asks if they can link their Dwarf Fortress fan art in progress. We're not sure if it'll let you, but if it lets you post a link, you have permission. Otherwise, we can sort that out and maybe this humble dwarf can add a panel or something if that didn't work to link to it. Because we probably have links turned off in the chat. Okay, so let's see what's happening with the dwarves. So the gorlak's still alive. Looks like he's having a happy little life. The tiger is outside. You might call that a punishment. Yes, the dog. The dog attacked the gorlak too. And it stood up a lot of times, like 12 times. And it seems like everything's going pretty well. Our gorlak, it's got some giant Kia blood on it, but that's normal. Very normal for the fortress. It doesn't have gorlak blood, which is, yeah, it blocked the link there. Actually, if you send it in a whisper to this humble dwarf, then we can probably do it, although, well, let's see. Yeah, we're going to log into Twitch, and then you can whisper it, and then it can be posted. The Masterpiece Gold figurine of Ustooth Wild Earth. That's cool. It'd be nice if we could very easily see that figurine. It's apparently in one of these. So, does any of these have a figurine? Nah, see, it's kind of hard to get to find the specific figurine that you want. That's okay, we'll get it to go. So, okay, the whisper has popped up. It's a Tumblr link. There he is. Looking hot. Smeeg. Smige. Unsure how that's supposed to be pronounced, but Yeah, very elegant. So there's always something happening in the fort. Like this one down here is preparing a fishy. Some are praying to their well-respected gods. We don't have a picture of Ul, nor do we have a picture of Shasad Start Machines, the barricaded girders. We do have Nagalak, though. And a Meditate on Mountains is probably a reference to Id the Tin Earth, which we drew last time. So if anybody's interested to see those, they can check them out at their leisure in the past episodes. But for now, let's see if they're building any ballista parts. It looks like the task is not appearing there. It's at 4 to 6, so they have actually created at least some ballista parts, which is cool. They just need to create one more and then we can make our first actual ballista. And presumably this underground area has been dug out. No, not completely. Oh, that's because we missed one of the tiles here. We didn't tell them to dig the whole thing. So we'll tell them to channel right there. And that should do it. Yeah, we can undesignate this area because it's already been dug. No reason to have them digging there where it's already been dug. It looks like this is all good. And yeah, so this human's name, which Ocean Bug is discussing, is spelled S-M-I-G-E. And Ocean Bug pronounces it Smige. Smige the Smug. Quite the strong human, apparently. This one hasn't had any strong humans. We've got some chill humans that like to hang around. Aside from that, some of them say that they're like warriors and such, but they haven't actually done any war. This one's an artist. That's cool. Bard. There's a couple socializing. Goblin criminal. Why is that one in our fort? Just came to relax. The mushroom of beers. Didn't even think it was open to visitors. But apparently they're getting in anyway. So that could be a problem. Goblin criminals visiting us. Oh, we got migrants. Who doesn't like a good migrant wave? Okay, it's time to get out the official list of migrants so we can count them, make them bedrooms, and generally attend to their needs. So the list is prepared. Are the migrants ready? This one looks to be a child. Oh, it's a siege operator. That's actually somewhat handy because we are going to be operating some sieges very soon as a way to slaughter the undead. Our line of undead. So let's see what else we got. See how many we got and what they are. This one's going to be a Jurist. Valal Kabuk, a hunter. So this is an expert Marksdwarf. That's very good. It is a hunter, so we'll have to undesignate them from hunting. If we don't want our animals, they'll die. But they're a bookbinder, which is kind of cool in case we ever decide to do a book industry. And we're going to just quickly tell them to stop killing the animals. Don't like to do that in this fort, at least not our friends. Or sorry, not the wild ones. He's already storing an item. Oh, he's storing his crossbow. Yeah, because we just told him to stop hunting. So we have an architect. That's uncommon to see. Ilral Ultarnish. And Ocean Bug mentions that human Smige has had quite the exploits as a bard and dreams of ruling the world. May become an adventurer in the future. And Ocean Bug thanks this humble dwarf for the inspiration to do art. Well, that's always good. We love art. We love dwarves, and art of dwarves is just like a whole other level. So this one's a building designer. Everybody who plays Dwarf Fortress, well, you have to use your imagination, and it's fun when you combine that with actually drawing stuff. You can look at the official art. The official art would be done by Zach Adams, the writer. And it's something that'll make you think, I could do that. It looks very good, but it also looks like you could probably do it if you put your mind to it without having to spend years and years learning to do art. So it's nice, and this humble dwarf thinks everyone who plays Dwarf Fortress should at least think about maybe doing some art. This dwarf is quite useful. A grower, gem setter, and stone crafter. High master stone crafter, that's cool. And what else do we got? A kivish. You soon run into a lot of repeated names. This one's a soper and nothing else. There's a lot of kivishes, a lot of jurists. This one's a horseful, so unnamed. Thank goodness, we can slaughter that whenever we want to. This one is Cog, Regoth, Casben, which is a tanner and shearer. What else do we got? How many dwarves are we going to get this time? Is that it? Nope. It always makes you think, is that it? Dobar Babanathel, peasant. And let's keep going. What else do we got? Oh, that's actually it. So this was a good-sized migrant wave, we'll say, with nine new dwarves. So let's immediately go and carve 9 new bedrooms. We'll pasture that animal. It looks like there's a dead human out here. We'll have to investigate that. But for now, we'll pasture the animal, the new horseful. And that's the only one that needs to be pastured that's not already. And okay, we'll check out that human after we dig a couple more rooms. So dig, mine, and then we'll use our handy macro to dig 2 bedrooms going up. Just like that. So 9s, we'll do this 5 times. Like so. Quickest dig fingers in the land. And they're back to going for it. So we're gonna also create some basics for those dwarves. They need some certain living essentials, so we'll give them some beds. 9 new beds and 9 new doors. Now we do have all these fancy materials, so let's do some fun doors. We'll do some gold doors, and we'll do some rock doors. 5 and 5. That should be plenty for now. Our dining halls are getting very cramped. We do notice this. So let's place some more chairs, and then we'll have a look at what that dead human's doing outside. So, okay, the dining hall, it's kind of cramped and cluttered in here, but that's how the dwarves like it. But this is a dining hall right here, and then this is kind of the other dining hall. So we'll put a chair down there. We've got 3 gold thrones to place, so there are 3 more chairs. That should keep them content for a few more minutes. And we'll order a couple more mugs or cups. Let's do goblets. Let's do some golden goblets. And so each order is 3, so that's 15 more gold goblets. Coming up. Now, what happened to you? What is with these dwarves standing around? This one's gathering plants. Okay, that's respectable. These are all gathering plants. This one's a rhinoceros, so it's not expected to do anything. But this is dead, and it's a mangled partial skeleton. Was it eaten by our tiger? Probably not. It could be what happened was it's one of the warriors from the siege, and our corpse stockpile is just too small to fit it. So that's what we're going to assume happened. So we'll increase the size of the corpse stockpile. Sometimes you just have to do that. Corpse stockpile is normally where we hold the corpses when they're on the way to being laid to rest. But sometimes they just don't get laid to rest. You like Ezum, we created a slab for her, so she's fine. And these, well, this humble dwarf is pretty sure these aren't our people. Snusp Spospustksu. Oh, that's a hard one to say. Snusp Spospustksu. Okay, what are you? Oh, this must be the barn owl, maybe? Probably, yeah. This is the barn owl woman that we dealt with a few sessions back. Yeah, she wasn't as troublesome as she was intimidating. The undead are not always fierce. Sometimes you just hack their hand off and then there's not much they can do. So we should get smoothing all these walls. So we like to zoom right out and just smooth a huge area. So that's what we're going to do. S for smooth. And yeah, we have a lot of dwarves now who are kind of idle. That's probably fine, honestly. We'd like to get them busy soon. because it's always good to have your dwarves be busy, but at the same time, we don't need to be obsessed. They can do it when they get around to it, you know? They can just chill for a while sometimes. Like, as long as we have enough food, that's pretty much it. We have lots of food. Although our drink is actually getting low. Our drink has dropped. It was at around 1,000 before. So we are going to create a second still and get a second brewer active. Looks like our soaper's going hard. That's good to see. Drink is being brewed, but as mentioned, it's getting to the point where it's inadequate. So let's just remove this kennel. That'll make a little more space for more useful things. We hardly ever use the kennel. So yeah, we'll just start brewing more drinks, and then we can get that drink number back over 1,000 where it belongs, or at least over some amount. It looks like, let's see, just thinking about what can we get our dwarves to do to keep them busy, basically. We could create some more crafting positions. We could tell them to be engravers, because we've got all these peasants, and it's good for them to have a job. So let's make this peasant an engraver. I'll make a couple more engravers, because we haven't run out of stuff to engrave yet. We're doing this the standard way, the way that's sort of by hand instead of using Dwarf Therapist, the normal way. Okay, so we'll go, the Dwarf Therapist has become the normal way, even though it's outside the actual game. It's just so much quicker and easier for setting labors. It used to be that was all Dwarf Therapist did, just a labor setting program. And then they realized it had a use for a lot of other things. Actually, this humble dwarf doesn't use it for anything really but setting labors, but it can be used for such other things, which is kind of cool. Now look at all these guys. They're digging at those rooms, working as a team. 5 miners, and they get confused when there's only one hole to dig. They all run away, but then as soon as there's 2, they start running back up because they realize there's actually more than one spot they could be mining. Let's see, how many beds do we have? Probably not very many, because we just told them to start making. Oh goodness, we have quite a few. Okay, it could be that. Oh yeah, these are from the previous migrant wave, so maybe it's unclear. We might be behind on bedrooms. If people are sleeping on the floor, then we'll know we're behind on bedrooms. So let's place the last couple beds, and we probably have some doors we can place too. Let's see. Yep, looks like we do. So place a door. That's not a door. Place a door. Place another door. Okay, let's place some doors. And we're doing it a slightly less efficient way, but it's going to work. And we should probably think about what's our next dwarven art piece going to be. It'd be fun to do that masterpiece figurine that came out. Those are always great fun. So yeah, we do have some bedrooms here without beds, so we'll place a couple of those. And this is where the new beds will go, it seems like. And some of the doors. How many doors can we do here? We'll see how many we actually have. Okay, that was it, just 2. So now this macro is going to confusedly try to place doors for another minute. So we told it to go 5 times, and it's going to do some very weird things, designating random squares, but we'll soon tell it to stop. Or we'll tell it to, there we go, undo those crazy designations. Okay. Do we get enough ballista parts yet? We really want to make that ballista. Let's see, ballista parts, nice, we got 4. Okay, so we can start making our practice ballista. First we're going to do a practice ballista, get our siege operators good and talented. On the other hand, it's already talented, so let's just, well, we'll do that anyway. And then this will give us a chance to make more ballista arrows too. So we'll toss our ballista right here. And can we not set the direction? Maybe you set the direction after it's built. Anyway, there, 3 parts. So yeah, they're going to build the first ballista, and then this is our kind of training shooting range so the arrows can be fired up. And supposedly, if a ballista arrow hits a wall with a hole below it, as we have holes here, the arrow should fall and not go in the hole, or something like that. or sorry, it should fall and go in the hole, but not break, because breaking is what we don't want it to do. So let's try making a finished goods stockpile. This is going to be our ballista arrows pile. Now it's unknown if ballista arrows are in finished goods or tools or ammo. Probably not ammo, even though that would make sense. But let's see. No, it's not ammo. So it's actually going to be, oh yeah, there it is, siege ammo. It says right there on the thing. Okay, so all we need to do is forbid all types except for ballista arrow. Now, do we want ballista arrow heads or do we want ballista arrows? I think it would be ballista arrows. Let's allow ballista parts too, just for convenience. Is there not a ballista arrows? Oh, there's siege ammo. Yeah, that's the whole thing. Okay, so the arrowheads, well, there's no reason really to have them there. So yeah, we got siege ammo and ballista parts in case we're actually going to build a ballista, and hopefully that's all it needs. Ballista, ammo, etc. There. And we could set our other stockpile not to hold ballista ammo, because we did see one ballista ammo right there. Let's just do that. Now it's going to be a little inconvenient because we have several different ballista, so several different stockpiles kind of making up this one stockpile. Oh, there's siege ammo, and they're all named everything too, so good luck finding them all. But that's just what we need. Some good luck finding them all. So siege ammo, there. And this is a different stockpile. Yeah, in the new version of Dwarf Fortress, they are going to let you extend your stockpiles that you've already made, which will be a blessing to be able to say, I already have a stockpile with certain attributes, so let's be allowed to make it bigger instead of having to create separate ones and adjust them all. It's like if you ever do any software development type things, this is a big thing you're not supposed to do. Adjusting the same thing in multiple places. It's prone to errors. As for all we know, there could be one stockpile here that still has siege ammo set there, like this one. And you can't even see them all. It's going to be good when that's fixed, we'll say. So it's about time for the next little dwarven illustration. Can we look through our stocks and see figurines in detail? It's probably not going to let us actually look at them now. So if we wanted to, we'd have to maybe look through the actual stockpile, which is crazy, but maybe we can find one. It'll be in a bin, finished goods bin. Any figurines in here? Oh, yeah, this giant Keybone figurine. We're kind of looking for a gold figurine. Donkey hoof. Yeah, okay, you can press tab to stock and stocks to see it, Oceanbug says. So let's try that. So we look down at figurines. Thank you for that tip. There we go, much better. Okay, so we have a gold figurine right there and another gold figurine. Perfect. And we have Kimberlite figurine, common snapping turtle of humans. There can be some quite interesting stuff in here, but it's also tough to know which one's going to be interesting. Let's check out this gold figurine of Ustu's Walder. This is the masterpiece. And unless it's really boring, this will be what we draw. Let's see. It's a dwarf and dwarves, surrounded by the dwarves. The ascension of the dwarf walled Earth to the position of king of our civilization, the sack of smokes, about 20 years ago. Cool. Well, why not? Let's go ahead. We'll just take a look what the other gold figurine is first, in case it's much cooler. This one is the dwarf and dwarves, surrounded by the dwarves. Yeah, okay. Ascension of the dwarf necromancer to the position of queen. Interesting. But a necromancer doesn't look all that different in gold compared with a king, a regular king dwarf. So, King Dwarfa, that's our man. We're going to dwarf him up. Okay, so let's let it play while we do this. Who should we follow? Follow somebody moderately interesting. How about an armor? Armor, or not armor, but how about we do follow an armor? See if they're even busy. Going for a drink. Oh, great. Caught you at a great time, didn't we, Kosoth, Gooselimouth Cat? Okay, so we've got a gold figurine to create. Let's jump on over to our art view. And here we go. Gold figurine of a Dwarf and Dwarves. So let's choose a nice golden color. Slightly more red. Why don't we ask the wizard to show us what gold looks like? So we've seen it before, but it's always good to have a refresher. So gold is kind of, it really depends on what's around it, but it's going to have yellow, orange, more saturated usually, and it's got kind of a white reflection. So we'll use this as our outlining color for the basic shape. Grab full thing, and so it's a dwarf and dwarves, a dwarf being elevated to the position of king. Do dwarven kings typically have crown? The symbol dwarf is unsure. Probably a donkey bone crown or something like that. So, okay, we'll do a king. Maybe he'll just have his arm. What's a kingly salute? Maybe we'll have him holding like, we'll have his arm up and out, kind of like this. And thank you very much for the lurk, the huge lurk. And we're gonna do his happy little arm. And another arm will be holding the royal scepter. The golden royal scepter. It's all golden. So there's the hand. We'll do actually a little slight elder close to the body. He's kind of saying, peace man, but really he's saying, thank you for elevating me to the position of king of the sack of smokes. Okay, and then the dwarves will be supplicating, we'll say, even though it doesn't say they are, but you know, gotta be a little creative to show the elevation factor of this statue. And it is gold, so we're going to try to kind of have everything glued down, as it were. So the dwarves, their bodies are going to just be like lumps. 1 lump, 2 lumps, 3 lumps. And we should continue the ring of dwarves around. So it'll be like that. And then there we go. Yeah, so he's got a kind of circle of dwarves, all elevating him to the rank of king. And these dwarves also serve as the base to this gold statue. So we'll kind of have him there, and then the arms of the dwarves all evenly spaced around, like so. And then the heads of the dwarves also spaced kind of around in a sort of even geometric circle or something like that. There's one more dwarf back there. And there's another dwarf behind, which of course you can't see. I'll add a back color just because there has to be something underneath all this. So going on a lower layer, not above. There, we'll just color it in just so that it's not transparent. Don't want any holes in our picture. There we go. Except we'll have that little gap between his staff and his body. Okay. Now, let's start shading away. And this will be where we start to define the shape of the statue and also where we kind of show the whole thing. Now, there is typically this pale color. Pale, unenchanted gold. Maybe someday we'll have enchanted gold. That would be cool. That's actually one of the great things about the Steam release. Once it's done, Tarn starts working on the myth and magic. And we can finally have enchanted gold. Or other kinds of enchanted things. So we'll do a kingly robe. Now if we're going to be truly accurate to dwarves, he should be wearing a hood, a cloak, a dress, and trousers. And gloves and mittens and socks and shoes. But we might not bother with that. Because it's a statue after all, it doesn't have to be exactly accurate. So there's feet will be like a weird little base there. And we do need to add some significant kind of gold feel, but let's just rough in the basic details first. So this is the staff of office of the sack of smokes, which you're assuming will be, let's give it a kind of a detailed head. Make it like a hammer, That's kind of cool. There might be a literal symbol of office for this civilization, which we could even find out what it is. That'd be neat. Something to maybe consider for a future time. But we'll do his crown sort of sculpted onto his head. There's the bottom, and then his eyes like this in confident benediction pose. Kind of looks like they're supposed to be like closed eyes. So we'll get rid of this, do the closed eyes there. There, now they look more closed, and then have the rim of the crown a little higher up, like so. There, this is starting to look like a golden figurine of a dwarf and dwarves. It's starting to. Okay, there's the bottom of that. The arm is kind of in an odd pose, so we're going to make it much more stuck to the body, because this is, after all, a figurine. So there, that can be the arm. We'll just do it simple, like he's got one finger pointed up, because the dwarves don't like to forge a whole bunch of fingers on this metal statue. Although it is top quality, it's a masterwork. It's harder to draw a masterwork, definitely. You gotta try to make it look masterful, but we can just imagine it's masterful. It doesn't have to literally be masterfully drawn. Or that would take all day, and nothing would ever happen. We need to have things happen when our dwarves get older. Time to progress. Babies born. Children grow up and join the workforce. Engravers become master level. Goblin sieges come and get dropped into the zombie pit. Actually, that takes micromanagement, but it's worth it. Okay, so let's just do a massive contrast now. We basically got the shape of this fellow and his thing, so we're gonna lock transparency, and then we'll do a little more like fine detail. Turn down the opacity a bit. We can just start blending a little bit, not like that, more like that. That's what we call blending. There, and then the light highlights at the top, of course. Where else would they be? We don't usually bother with having light sources anywhere but the top. Here in Onozaphon. Maybe someday we will. As long as we're drawing quickly, then it's easier to just always draw the light at the top. Yep, that is the way of the dwarves. Okay, so we do need to add more contrast to make it look more gold-like. And one thing that's cool with gold is in cracks and crevices, it tends to get super saturated looking because it's gold reflecting gold, so it's not just a bit yellow, it's very yellow. And we've actually kind of made it too yellow in the dark spots, so we can't afford that contrast because we didn't do the part where it's not super bright. So yeah, we're going to try to do a little more gold-like. Maybe this is going too far in the way of unsaturating it, but who knows, we'll try it. So we're going to try to add some like just basic little, what do you call them? Dark areas, less saturation-y bits, that kind of thing. To smooth it out, desaturate it, make room for the real saturated parts. Yeah, this gold is, well, it's gonna be gold, don't worry. Maybe we made it too detailed, that's fine. It was a dwarf and dwarves after all, so you gotta have all the dwarf and all the dwarves. Now this is supposed to be one layer with that. That's probably why it's getting upset when we try to shade in these dark areas. That's better. Okay. Yeah, so now we'll just do some more highlights here on tops of stuff. Kind of like this. You don't want to be too detailed, of course, because we want to get it done. We're going to have to smooth this body a little bit. But yeah, this is kind of a simple one we're doing here. Nothing too complex, nothing too detailed. Just a dwarf and dwarves. And we're going to go for yellow too, more yellow color, to really make it slightly more gold-like. Maybe we can use this yellow to smooth in between the white and the dark, and between the orange and just basically smoothing every little part of it. Let's actually do the fadey brush, the fuzzy brush. And it is on 100% opacity, but that's going to be fine because we're doing a little more strong of lines right now. There, that's actually helping to make it look more gold, more sparkly, or not really sparkly, but more shiny. Get the edges to shine up a bit. There, like that. There they are, shiny edges, golden dwarves. Yeah, here we go. It's a lot more gold-like. Okay, now it doesn't need to be perfect, far from it. The standard is adequate. So as long as it's adequate, it's done. And we're gonna try to make this one blazingly adequate. Okay, here we go. Beautiful. Yep. Let me throw some dark spots, a couple of the spots of this dark color we had up there. Okay. Now it's actually getting closer than you might think. Some parts up here are a little rough because of the way we applied that dark shade. So I'm just going to smooth over the edges of the dark shadow, and then probably after that we'll add some very high highlights, and then we'll start saying it's almost done, and then we'll work on it for a few more minutes, and then it'll actually be done. But actually this one's, it's pretty basic. It's like, it's just a dwarf and dwarf, so like what do you really want, you know? Like there's nothing to, it's not like it's a dwarf striking down a goblin or something. That would have been perhaps interesting. This is interesting in its own way. It's the king of our civilization after all. So it's got a little more of a historical feel to it. It's like something you might find buried in the hull of a ship 2,000 years later, if dwarves had ships. Maybe someday. Take to the seas. Dwarven seafarers. For now, they must be scared of water or something. Okay, that's looking decent. No holes, no problematic areas. We can start doing like a back highlight. That's probably a good idea to make it have more of a sense of a shape. So we'll take our dark orangey color and we'll just go and kind of darken out all the top right, back right edge. To some extent just the back, like this. And then this is in preparation to put a shine on it. So there's the darkened sort of part. And then we go a little smaller and take a bright color and this. So look how shiny this back edge is. Wow. Yeah, look at that. It's like dwarves are made of gold. Staff is made of gold. It's all gold. Okay. Now we're almost done. Almost done with this figurine. Add a couple little lines to really show the edges of the dwarves there. Highlight their shiny edges. And then do a little bit of the same up here. Not too much. Be careful never to do too much. Okay, there's that. Or if we do too much, we just delete it or whatever. It's not that big of a problem. But yeah, that's looking pretty good. Now we're going to take white, some pure, shockingly bright white, and just pick out some top edges and put some white highlights on random spots. Well, not random spots, but on the edges that are reflecting a certain direction, basically, kind of towards the top left. Oops. Do a little dark spot in between there. Okay, grab our white again. Make sure it's white. It looks white. Okay, and then a couple more of these things. And it's kind of all going to have the same brightness, the same finish. It's tempting to make the actual dwarf in the center brighter because he is, after all, the king, but it's all gold, so nature says it's all one color. Color of metal doesn't discriminate between humble dwarves and kings. Okay, this is pretty nice looking. Now let's just hit it with some high contrast or high saturation, just in some certain areas to really liven it up a little bit. We're going to do low opacity, pretty big size, and say, look, right here, it's bright, and right here, and here, just to kind of like make it go crazy. Crazy gold. Okay, that's our gold figurine. It's done. It's adequate. Now crop it and save transparent, as we love to do. We'll search for that PNG. Somehow it's always a battle finding the PNG. Okay, now we'll head back over to the fortress and stocks, which we're not going to totally head back over, but actually we might as well. There you go. So we're in the stocks, and we're looking at figurines. We're going to find this figurine just to get that reference of it. For some reason, it's actually hard to remember the reason now. Oh yeah, it's because so we can name the file properly. So it's a figurine of Ustooth Walderth, or yeah, it's Ustooth Walderth. So gold Ustooth Walderth King figurine. Okay, there we go. Saved. Now we'll prepare the file for the next artwork, as we always do. There it is, and we're back to the dwarves. Now we can add in this lovely Ustooth. He's going to be an image, and he's going to look like this. There he is, him and his dwarves, as they elect him king, or ascend him to the position of king. Whew. There it is. Somebody doesn't think they have logs again. Boy, these dwarves. Dwarves and their log problems. Well, let's get you all the logs you need. Spitefully chop down some trees with our razor sharp sarcasm. Okay, there. Chop down these. You want trees? Okay, here. Have some trees, dwarves. Elves aren't going to be happy, but well, there's a lot of trees to go around. Hopefully that'll be enough to please them. And Oceanbug asks, is this your current king? It's not. It's actually a king who was elected some time ago. Actually, you know what? We don't know for sure, but he was ascended to the position of king quite a while ago. Let's take another quick glance at that figurine. So Ustooth, it was in the year 109, and now it's the year 129. So chances are Ustooth by now has died or been deposed or something. They don't tend to last very long. But if you know how to figure out if he's still the king, maybe it's in the... Oh goodness, we just made that out of soap. Okay, we're not making that out of soap. Still made out of soap. How ridiculous. Okay, remove. Then the soap is too valuable. But yeah, if we can figure out how to find who's our current king, which we'll check in the civilization, that'll tell us if it's still Ustooth. So if for some reason it really wants us to make it out of soap, first 10 things are all soap. There's orthoclase. So we'll have an orthoclase still. And then one of our migrants who is a brewer can start brewing away and bring our drink supplies back up because they are dwindling. Even as our plant supply seems to be looking pretty decent. So let's check who our king is, if we can. Maybe it's not through this. World. So we can look at holdings. We can look at civilizations. Oh, there we go. Sack of Smokes. That's us. So we have a baron consort. We have a baroness. Count consort. There's our king, and he's also a brewer. Ustooth. A Dilber. Now, we know that our king in the artwork is named Ustooth Walderth. So to translate from Dwarven to English, we can do that with the use of assistance from the wizard. So Adil is not found. Perhaps that's oh, okay, here we go. Adil. We can check. So is Adil in the human language? We need to find in the Dwarven language. Wall, yep, wall. And then Burr. Burr is harder to find because a lot of things include the word Burr. Maybe we search for Earth. Yep, Burr is Earth. So Ustooth is still the king. Adil Burr, Walderth. Something has died in our animal room. That's not good to see. This purple cloud is a bad sign. It makes the dwarves unhappy. And because it's happening in the room with our pigs and stuff, it's probable that, oh yeah, the lion's fighting the gorlak, the leopard's fighting, the hollow one peasant. Okay, why is there a hollow one peasant? Apparently, there's giant Kias. That's a long time ago. That's the 6th of limestone. Right now it's Galena. But yeah, there's one, the 27th of Galena. Actually, limestone wasn't that long ago. Let's see what's going on here. Something died anyway. That's very unfortunate. Yeah, limestone is early autumn and Galena is the end of summer. So apparently it's been very unpeaceful, if that's a word. It's been a situation of combat basically that whole time we were drawing. And there's been giant Kias. Goodness, what's going on? We don't even know who fought them or what they were attacking. Hollow one peasant. Okay, well we're gonna have to check if the hollow one peasant's still around. But yeah, the lion got in a fight with the gorlak. We should just let that gorlak go. Stop dragging it back into, it's probably dead, but stop dragging it back into the pasture. Him back into the pasture. The eggs and pegs, which means pigs. So we'll say gorlak, where are you? No longer needs to be pastured here. There he is, Koganabar. He has a name. That might actually be a bad thing, because that might mean he killed an animal enough to earn himself a moniker. Let's just see if he killed anything. So he's got 2 pages. He's been fighting the lion, unfortunately. But it looks like he was losing. It looks like the lion did more damage. But yeah, the gorlak's no longer pastured, so our dwarves will stop dragging him in there to be killed. And hopefully that's all that's going to happen. The leopard, we don't know who the leopard was fighting because that was a long enough time ago that it's no longer showed. But see, there's miasma. Somewhere in this miasma, there's probably a dead body of some animal or something like that. It's got to be something dead. There's a blue peahen. How is there a hollow one peahen? Do we still have a necromancer visiting? Because there was a friendly, well, there was a friendly hollow one. There wasn't a, oh, there's the gorlak's toe. That's probably what's rotting. Yeah. And they won't pick it up for whatever reason. Like that could be carried off to the refuse pile. Anyway, hopefully the gorlak will just leave now. See, he'll probably try to run into the caverns. And then he'll end up getting caught in a cage trap again. That would be if we're not lucky. Anyways, let's go check on our ballista. It's there. It's facing very much the wrong way, but we can hit O to change orientation. There we go. Wow, it instantly turned. Cool. And we're going to say change action. So fire at will. That's right. We're just going to fire that ballista at will. And we do have a new siege operator, so it should actually fire probably. Let's take a look. We'll follow our siege operator if we can find them. It's a red one. There they are. Fire ballista. Yeah, they instantly went to fire it. Hurt him, Ustuth Roder. You can do it, buddy. Or lass. Let's see. Gender. Male. Okay, you can do it, buddy. Not that a woman can't be a buddy, too. Anyways, Erdem's gonna go and get lost in the bedroom cave and run around in circles. But eventually indeed, he learns he can fire ye ballista. And fire he does. Whoa, almost straight. Looks like the bolt fell down below. Yeah, it's still there. Cool. So hopefully he'll just keep firing bolts and they'll keep falling down and not breaking, and then he can improve his ballista skills. That's the whole idea. These bedrooms look like they're ready to be outfitted. Yeah, we got beds. So let's outfit them. Just like that. Do 3 more with our insanely quick fingers. Not really. And then do the similar thing with the door. Yeah, it looks like we got enough doors. Hopefully we did that one right. Looks like it's gonna work. Oh, we're out of doors. Yeah, hopefully there's still some doors being made. So when you go into this menu, you press so it's like saying Okay, we can actually assign some bedrooms too, because the new rooms, they have beds, but they're not bedrooms, most of them. This one, etc. All these newly dug rooms. Now let's just make sure this is designated to be smoothed too. Looks like we haven't smoothed any of this yet, so we won't smooth the zombie area, but we'll smooth everything else. Smoothing is always designated at priority 1 for no particular reason. Actually, let's tell them to do the stockpile a little later. You can't overwrite the priority when smoothing stone, so you have to undesignate it and then redesignate it with the new priority, just like that. Perfect. Okay. That's good to see that the ballista is going. And oh, somebody's been possessed. Usually a good sign. Why don't we watch them for a bit? It's always fun. So somebody's got a strange mood. It was a mason, so that'll be in the white section up here. White names for white colored sprites of dwarves. That's a mason, so they're almost certainly going to grab a mason workshop, and then they'll make something out of stone, probably furniture. So if anybody can guess correctly what this mason's going to make, should they survive, then you get to name the mason. That's how it goes. It looks like they do have stuff that they need. Grabbing something. Oh, that must be ore or stone, maybe. Let's see. What did they say they needed? Oh, they're not there right now, so they won't say. Oh, we can actually see what he's carrying. He keeps getting bumped. Let's see. Is it a he? She. Olan. She keeps getting bumped by the animals, but she's carrying some tetrahedrite, so she decided that she wanted some rough ore to use. What's she gonna make? She's using the rough ore as a stone, essentially, because it's not been smelted or anything, so it's still basically a stone, which makes a lot of sense for a mason. Apparently it's heavy because she's moving extremely slowly. Well, that lion's roaming around. Why don't we check the combat report? It looks like there hasn't been anything new. Oh, there's some... Yeah, the captain of the guard has been fighting. Dealing out some punishments. The lion hasn't fought in a while, so looks like we're pretty safe on that. What's this L? There's a lowercase L. Oh, that's our leopard, of course. Okay, so we don't really need to chain the tiger outside. After all, it seems like it was the gorlak's own fault that he was getting attacked. But let's see. Yeah, there she's. This strange mood dwarf up here. Olan. She is grabbing a gem, a piece of fine cut orthoclase. Now it's a little unfortunate that she'll be making it out of cut cheap stone, but we had our jeweler practicing on orthoclase, so we have a lot of cut orthoclase. But she's also going to grab, looks like some copper bars. Okay, she's going to be decorating with low value materials. And we do have a vote or guess from Oceanbug, which is that it's going to be a throne. We'll be lucky if it's a throne. Yeah, let's see what the options are. Mason is one of the less varied things, and of course we can't look at the options because we only have one mason shop and it's claimed. But let's see what else. It could be any kind of furniture. A door would be nice, like a grate or a floor grate, floor bars or something. So this humble dwarf is going to guess that it's a grate. A bit of wishful thinking, because an artifact grate would be just fantastic. It would block everything from breaking it. It could never be broken, because apparently trolls will break anything, but they're not willing to break a grate. Almost, it seems, out of respect for, or sorry, they're not willing to break an artifact out of respect for dwarven craftsmanship, perhaps, craftsdwarfship. No, it's more like because artifacts are just so well crafted that even a troll cannot break through them. So for whatever reason, this caravan decided to climb up the edge of the mountain and then back down to get to our place. Yeah, they actually are climbing. Oh, it's because there's trees in the way. So they're circumventing those trees by going up the mountain and back down. Just beautiful. Let's check on our tree cutting operation, our soon-to-be tree growing. They've actually finished this level, so this is the last level we need to channel. Yep, because once we channel this, then we'll be right down to the fort level, which is actually awesome, because that means the mega project is nearing completion. It's not, we can't say it's nearing completion yet because, well, we still have to actually pump the water in, but it's nearing the point where it's going to be nearing completion, nearly. So that's just great. Why don't we could let them dig this out first, just to kind of keep things organized. Actually, we'll do that. That'll channel out some section of this. So we'll just tell them to channel out this at a lower priority so they can get rid of this old square, which we kept for reasons that no longer apply. And there, so that's great. And then down here, we'll channel out at priority level 4. And then it'll all be done in the right order. We'll get rid of all those top things first, and we can channel a gigantic area in one big designation here. So designate there. Wow, it feels good. This might create some lag. So that's part of why we have our dwarves creating rock crafts. We don't actually necessarily want to dig under these bits of water here. It's kind of scary. Although it probably won't leak through. And hey, we want water in this cave anyway. But what we don't want is holes. We don't want any holes to the surface. So we'll kind of leave those as little indents there, and then we'll just channel everything but those. Being careful not to go too far over this way too. On the other hand, there will be a floor over it at least. We just don't want trees to go through the floor. That's kind of why we don't necessarily go all the way over to the edge, especially where there's dirt, where trees may be growing. But we're also going to tempt fate a little bit. It can be very dangerous. If you get a gigantic invasion of goblins, and you've got, oops, there's one little hole in your tree cavern, then the goblins will say, hey, why don't we circumvent the entire trap hallway and just go in the little hole you made for us, which they will readily, happily do. So, gotta be careful about that. So we'll probably do just one more drawing after this, and then that'll be the end of our day's work. So maybe we'll see what the traders bring, do a little tradey trade. Speaking of which, we need to tell the dwarves to bring a million things out to trade, like our loads and loads of rock crafts, which are probably still languishing in the rock craft dwarf shops for whatever reason, because they got confused about where to put them. But yeah, so that's going to take a long time for them to carry out. But we can also trade some, maybe some gold. Don't really know what we have to trade. We can just give them bars. We have enough gold bars. We can probably get some reasonable trades for that. The best thing that the dwarves could bring us would be a cat, because right now we have just one cat and we really want a pair, breeding pair. That big mistake made early in the fort where we only brought one cat, or we didn't actually bring a cat. We brought no cats, and then we only have a cat because a migrant brought one. So far that's been the only migrant that's brought a cat. And the only trader, or the traders have not brought any cats, so that's been our only cat. That is a monster of a cave. Yeah. Okay, so let's start bringing stuff out to this lovely trade depot. So first we'll look at our crafting goods. And in fact, we do still have a lot of stone crafts that we brought out in the previous session, previous trade session, you might say. So that'll be under crafts right at the top here. And unlike the elves, these guys don't mind. They'll take all our wood bins. It's nice not having to be so careful. Okay, so yeah, just bring it all out. Anything that you can carry out. Recognizing that it's going to take forever because these are all not in bins, so carrying like one little scepter at a time, but that's fine. Just fine. Do we have any trap components? Let's see. We'll see what's in it. Yeah, there's a large 30 copper disc. That'll fetch a good price. So let's bring that bin out. We could bring some armor, yeah. Lots of copper armor. And bronze. We're not going to trade the bronze or the steel. For sure not the steel. But we could trade some copper armor because we don't really want our dwarves. Oh, that's just their gloves and boots, isn't it? It's because they don't put on their gloves and boots. Okay. Well, we won't bother carrying that out. But we do want to trade some copper helms, which it would seem like some of these probably have copper helms in them. Because this is in headwear, so yeah, oh, there's a steel helm. Not trading that. But if we can find some copper helms, so we did make a bunch of extras, then we can trade those away. Not seeing a lot of extras in there, just one copper helm. This is maybe more promising. Nope. Okay. There's another armor bin. High boots, Terran M. What's Terran M? Jagged, oh yeah. Artifact copper low boot that we once made. And is this where the copper helms are, perhaps? A large, we can trade the large armor. Let's trade that box. That's probably enough. We don't need to give them everything. Hey, there's a gorlak. Why is it in a cage? It's kind of funny that we're allowed to trade away the gorlaks. They can definitely have this large rat. Oh, and the troll. Yeah, if you want a troll, take it. So the gorlak, we want to welcome the gorlaks to our culture, but they don't seem. It seems like our dwarves just get too upset when they see a gorlak. So we're gonna keep the cave crocodile because it's cool. Parakeet, we don't really care. We got that from the elves, apparently, or something like that. It's in a wood cage, so it must have come from the elves. And the spider, we're gonna try to do something. Oh no, we just pressed escape. Okay, it's the dwarven fear, but it looks like it was fine. Pushing escape was not a problem there. That's good. Yeah. Sometimes, like if you push escape when you're trading instead of pushing T for trade, that can be disheartening. But luckily in here, it's fine. It's all good. Huh. Pig's milk barrel. How much cheese do we have? Probably a lot. We like making cheese. We could trade them some soap too, but anyway, that's enough for now. That's enough for them to trade. Let's let our moody dwarf finish their mood. And we can see if Oceanbug was right with the guess of a throne, or was this humble dwarf right with the guess of a grate? A grate would be great. So would a throne. An artifact throne would be awesome because it would really elevate the room. It would make the dining room amazing. Aha, she's begun. Excellent. All the dwarves can now carry stuff out, and she can begin the artifact. And now, if this is a good artifact, if it's a cool looking one, that'll give us an easy pick for the last thing to draw of today's session. Cool artifacts are fun to draw. If it's just like a stone throne with spikes of orthoclase, then not so much. But we know it's got at least some gems and some metal, so it could be decorated with an image. Could be a lot of things. And we got a new outpost liaison, because our last one tried to escape during the zombie invasion. Their blood is still lining the hall, so let's see, what requests do we have? We want cages. We always just want cages until we have enough cats. Okay, one of each gender. So there's cages. Give us all the cages. And is there anything else that we want? We kind of want cloth. We don't usually make a lot of cloth. Maybe some seeds. Actually, we have 1,000 seeds, so we probably don't need seeds. We don't care about crafts. We can ask for just a little pigtail cloth. We usually end up buying it. But on the other hand, they bring it anyway, so if we tell them we want it, then they'll charge us more for it. So we can just not tell them that, and then it'll be all good. So these are fun. Actually, not leaves, but things that we can, like grapes, anything we don't have, like blueberries, blackberries, we can then plant these in our greenhouse, and that would let us have new plants that we don't already have. So we can expand our food production by adding on plants. So that'll do it. Now we press escape for done and wait for the next message to pop up. There it is. So this is what we asked for. Yep, cages. Okay, now let's see what they want. They want, it's so hard to tell what they want. So over 200% for cloth, armor, earrings, and drinks. We're not trading any drinks, but we could trade, we'll definitely give them some earrings, and we are planning to give them some armor. They also want crutches, and to a lesser extent, looks like meat, and also windows and stuff. Okay, cool. So our dudes are probably, yeah, everybody's bringing stuff to the depot. So we'll kind of watch them bring stuff to the depot. Everybody's going to be walking all the way across the fortress, getting something from those rock crafters workshops. As you can see, there's dwarves carrying scepters and figurines and whatever that M symbol is, rings, carrying them all down from the crafting spots up there. Yep. So this is going to take a little while, but that's good because we're waiting for somebody to make a craft right now. And now, we didn't actually do any pumping, but we'll do the pumping, don't you worry. We can make some grates while we're thinking about it. Let's order some grates. So we're going to need some grates to, of course, protect the entrances to our water. Get our dwarven U-bend going. Interrupted by a troll. Now that is scary. Is it because we went to trade the troll? Do they take it out of the cage once they bring it to the trade depot? That's probably what happened. So now we've got a troll on the loose. That's fun. That's very fun. See, there's a friendly hollow one. There's apparently an undead. Oh yeah, there's lots of undeads. That's not an issue. But where's that troll? Right there, wild animal it says. So it's just, they must have let it out of the cage to bring it up to the trade depot. Okay, so lesson learned, don't try to trade your untamed animals, because dwarves will not bring them in the cage, they'll take them out of the cage. Maybe we could have traded the cage, but yeah, we're gonna just have to kill that. Sorry, troll. It'll give our military some experience at least. Everyone, kill the troll. And meanwhile, let's tell them not to bring the gorlak, if we still have a chance to. Because apparently it's not tame either. Well, it can't be tamed, it's too smart. But, other, okay, the gorlak, we just don't have it anymore. That's probably because it already got released from its cage. Let's see, check on the gorlak real quick. Where are you, Mr. Gorlak? Oh, there, Koganabar. The big question is, how did he get back into a cage? He's just wandering. That's fine. So yeah, this troll is in for it. It's in for a bad time. And all right, we have some very skilled axe dwarves, like this one probably. Yeah, this is an axe lord, so good luck. Have fun. Yeah, the troll's bleeding all over the place. Let's see, its lower body is wounded and its foot is wounded. Oh, it lost its entire lower leg. Jeez, yeah, that was efficient. Yeah, the dwarf immediately went back to being whatever his normal job is. Mission completed. One axe dwarf is more than a match for a troll. Let's check out the combat log. Cyril Olonam. Administrators fighting. This must be when the troll actually did something. Oh no, this is the axe lord that switched back to administrator. Just curious what it was fighting before. Apparently it wasn't fighting, it was just interrupting them. So what happened is it looks like the troll did nothing. The troll was slapped with the flat of the axe, which did a lot of damage, tore apart the muscle, and then the troll was kicked. Bone fracture. The troll didn't even fight back, poor thing. Artery was opened, and then cut off its head. Well done. As gruesome as it may be, could not be avoided. And something else rotted? Is it another of that gorlak's toes? Or is it the same toe that's just still rotting slowly? Oh, there's a bunch of teeth. A lot of teeth. Rovad Musish Lolok. Who is Rovad Musish Lolok? Is it one of our dwarves? Nagalak Forbid could be one of our dwarves. Because that's a lot of teeth. No, we have a Rovad Sodareth, but not a Musish Lolok. That's a mystery. We might figure that out later. Or not. Something's rotting anyway. Something smells. The dwarves aren't too happy running through that. They're gonna have to get over it. Oh, it must be this dog. Oh geez, Dusum Titalimush's rotten corpse. Spattered in dog blood. Yeah, don't worry, Dusum isn't a dwarf. It seems to be a dog. They didn't butcher it. It's unclear why. You'd think they would have at least butchered the thing. Put it to some use, give it a proper fate. Not just to let it rot away. But such is life. Sometimes bad things happen in the animal pit. And there's just nothing you can do about it. So we're going to let this artifact finish. She's crafting away at her mysterious, strange construction. Oh, we got another collapse. That was unexpected. Well, let's watch the smoke. Wow, big one. Ustooth and Nolarid. Oh no. Let's see, where's Ustooth? That's the same one. Oh no. That's not good. That's not a good sign when you see them knocked out and then you don't see them in the listing. They're almost certainly dead. Oh, I'm gonna have to assign somebody else to mining. Yeah, that's their second miner. Lost in the line of duty. Why did it collapse? We had it set to do the top layer first and the bottom layer second. Oh well. Hopefully there's only one miner there. At least. If we're lucky. Okay, it's unpaused. We don't see the corpse. There is a miner up in the corner here. Oh, geez, there's a lot of miners here. There's Meng. Oh, there's two we lost. Looks like Etcher, Mosidden, and Ustooth and Nolrid. Wasn't Etcher already dead? No, that's wishful thinking. Okay, so we just killed two more dwarves, sadly, with a cave-in. We don't even know how it happened. Maybe what happened was they mined in a circle, and then the roof from the middle of that circle fell. That could be it. Well, at least miners aren't that hard to come by. We better make a couple coffins for them. Yeah, this is, we were supposed to be ending this session pretty soon, but our dwarves hasn't finished her artifact yet, so we're gonna just let that happen. So we're gonna make a couple coffins. And coffin is, should be able to make them out of wood. Maybe not. Not a bin. Can't put them in a bin. There's casket. Okay, there are two caskets. Ready to order. What a tragedy. Aha, finally. Okay, well, oh, it's a throne. Look at that. So, whatever ideas you might have in mind for this dwarf's name, Ocean Bug, indeed, she can be named after you. There. So, let's take a look at this lovely throne. A tetrahedrite throne. She claims it as a personal treasure. Let's see. It's down here. Miral Mokez, Portent Cage. It's worth a fair bit, considering we allowed her to make the gems of orthoclase. Let's grab a little print screen of this in preparation, because it's probably going to be our next and final illustration of this day. So this is, of course, high quality, studded with bronze, circled with milk quartzes. But the more interesting thing would be later on. It's got spikes, it's got studs, it's got an image of gems in tetrahedrite, and an image of an amulet. It's also got an image of Edem, Paperstaff the Dwarf, surrounded by the Dwarves, related to the ascension. Ah, so we are going to draw a necromancer ascending to the position of queen in the year 11. Well, well, well. Let's take a look at this throne. We're going to leave it paused now. Yeah, so it's a tetrahedrite throne. What color is tetrahedrite, you might ask? Let's hop on over to the art view. Tetrahedrite. It looks like a nice silver color. It tends to be an ore of copper and silver, if we recall correctly, but that could be wrong. So it's going to be a nice throne, and let's make it kind of straight on view. Ocean Bug says, can't believe I missed that. Does that mean I get to name a dwarf? It means you get to name, where is she? Olan. Yeah, she should be the legendary. You didn't miss it by much, by the way. It just happened. So, how do we view who made it? There's the artifact. And, yes, Olan Kanfaikad. So, this is the lovely dwarf. She can have any nickname you want, within reason. So, we'll leave it on this screen for now. And we'll continually draw this tetrahedrite throne as Ocean Bug contemplates the naming. She can keep Olan as part of her name. She can drop the Olan and just be smelly or something nicer if you want. There's really very little restriction to what this dwarf is going to be called. One thing that's for sure is that our dining hall is going to have a sharp step up in quality with this lovely throne. It's great to get an artifact throne. Yep. So let's start looking at what it's got on it. So it has an image, a couple images on it. One is of a dwarf being ascended, so we can make sort of the whole back of the throne could be that. There's also an image of an amulet and an image of gems in tetrahedrite, and the amulet is in orthoclase. So we could even draw the dwarf kind of wearing the amulet. And does it say what this image is in? It's in orthoclase. Okay. So it's going to have a yellow part. We're going to do it a little more reserved. And Ocean Bug says they already had a bunch of streamers name their dwarves Ocean and expand the emperor further. She shall be known as Ocean. Ocean Conficad, the Mason. There you go. Ocean Catglaze. Congratulations, creator of Niral Mokez. And let's see what it looks like. So, here we go. Orthoclase image of a dwarf and dwarves, a dwarf being ascended to necromancer. So this is, or a dwarf necromancer being ascended to queen. So we'll do kind of like this. And Ocean Bug says, thank you. Thank you, very epic. Well, thank you, Ocean Bug, for your participation and continuing support of Olan, who shall forever be known as Ocean. You're lucky she's not a miner. Oof, bad things happen when you mine sometimes in this fort. But we don't have to talk about that. So there's the queen. She can be doing the same kind of symbolic pose of being ascended. Why not? Just like we did for our king in the other one, the hammer of office. So this is sort of engraved or sculpted, molded into the back of the chair. And then we'll have a few supplicating dwarves beneath. This is orthoclase, but it's not the garish orthoclase. It's a slightly more tasteful, darker orthoclase. And then, so we'll have a dwarf body kind of right here, another one here, another one here. And then there's the head, and light body. Yep, just like that. And then the hands are kind of merged together. So we'll just kind of like this, and then have the hands go like this. And it's going to be small because there's a lot of detail on this thing. It's quite the artifact. Okay, so there's the back, which is orthoclase worked into the tetrahedrite. And let's just do a slight bit of brightening on the tetrahedrite, like this, to make it look more tetrahedrite-like, just to kind of give a starting impression, as we're going to enhance it later, but it needs to have at least some idea of the shape of the throne. Okay, so let's add rough in some other details. So we've got the basic image of Edom Paperstaff, the queen, but what else do we have? We have an orthoclase amulet, so we're going to draw the amulet around her neck as part of, she's already made of orthoclase, so it just makes sense. The queen could be drawn using an amulet as well. Image of an amulet in orthoclase. And then there are also oval orthoclase cabochons encircling it in bands. So we'll put those oval. So do them kind of like as studs on the handles. This throne has handles there. I'm going to put some up here too, just to really stud it out there. But it's going to be more than just studded. It's also got an image of single cut gems in tetrahedrite, so those can be kind of down the front of the arms. We're going to run out of space on this thing. It's so detailed. What's a single cut gem? Well, let's find out. Single cut gem. Asking the wizard. The wizard says inconclusive. It just looks like a gem. So we'll just do kind of a gem shape. We'll do kind of diamond, although it says single cut. Well, close enough. So there. We'll just kind of put one on each leg, and maybe some up there, maybe not. And besides that, why? It's got more bands encircling it. Brilliant cut, round brilliant cut milk quartzes. Milk quartz is a white color, and brilliant cut is like the normal cut for a gem. Yeah, like the way a round diamond is typically brilliant cut. But that doesn't really work for a milk quartz, because milk quartz is just white. But what can you do? We'll make the milk quartzes represent her undead eyes. So these should be the round. It's sort of like a band of them, but we're going to use them as the eyes. We'll say it's a band of just two going across her face. Yeah, this is maybe we're making it too small. Let me make this thing bigger as we struggle to draw the eyes. There, make it about the same size as our last artifact. Okay, so that's fine for now. We can actually make it more like an encircling band by putting eyes on these dwarves too. They're going to be in a strange perspective because they're facing away, yet we're putting eyes on the back of their head like they're frog people or something. But that's okay, you know, not a problem. All right, let's see. It's studded with bronze. It's got oval orthoclase cabochons and also encircled with giant rat leather. Well, that could be like the seat back maybe, so that it doesn't feel quite so hard on the back. So here's the giant rat leather. It'll be like her belt and also a little back support, lumbar support for the dwarves. Yeah, and then we can just have, in fact, we can do some kind of encircling bands of rat leather on the arms too. There, this way. It's a little more comfortable, you might say. It's going to be kind of lumpy on the back with this giant orthoclase engraving. We can try to make this look a little more flat. So there you go. We'll do this and do some highlights at the top. There it is. Yeah, so we're making it more flat. So this is the hammer of our office, which we're just assuming is a hammer. And then just a little underlight and a little highlight on the top, which is going to be not too much brighter, just a little. I'm kind of trying to make it look flat, so we may kind of do some flat, what's the word, just some basic shading. So we'll just do the top of her head like a crown. And there's this, just highlighting kind of the top of everything. And then for the basic shading, we'll just do like the top of each section. more or less, will be lighter. So it's not meant to be like sculpted in a round shape. It's meant to be like a flat image that's kind of carved on. So every section is just lit from the top like this. And we'll do a soft orthoclase highlight near the top. Not so soft there, but yeah, just like kind of to show that it's just the top fading down towards the middle. And that's about all there is to it. Like that. Here's your orthoclase carving of a dwarf and dwarves. Look here. Okay, now we'll crank the opacity so we can kind of do some quicker effects there. And this, well, this is just orthoclase part in between, so just kind of leave it as a flat yellow. Make the back of the chair look somewhat flat. That's the goal. We don't want it to look all too bumpy. Maybe we'll do some of the lighter parts just at the bottom. Just a little subtle bit there. Nothing too detailed. Okay. Next, there's always more. Needs a little shading down at the bottom to kind of separate that from the rest of it. There. Do maybe a shadow there. Just simple. Maybe that's too much. There. Flatten it. Okay. And the leather band, we'll give it a slight highlight. Small highlight. Like this. And there you go. Yeah, okay. And we'll do a little bit of smoothing there. Cool. And now, cross, smooth that, or whatever it's called. So that's the rat leather band. Was there any more colorful things? It's got bronze, but spikes of bronze, and it's also studded with bronze. That's kind of cool. So let's do some bronze spikes. That might be where our color has to come from, because she did pick some rather ordinary colored materials, you might say. So menaces with spikes of bronze, where do you put those? But at the top. Yeah, that looks comfortable. These spikes won't be spiking your butt when you try to sit on it, or spiking your hands when you try to rest them in the armrests. So there's some nice bronze spikes. They're going to be shined up a little more. I'm going to use a brighter color than orthoclase. It's probably too bright. It's bronze after all, not gold. So I'll do this, and then yeah, that's pretty bronzy. And some white, just a touch of white to do some sharpness on these menacing spikes. Okay, and shadow. Make them a little darker. There you go. Okay, so it's got the bronze spikes. That's perfect. It's also studded with bronze. We've got the milk quartzes. We've got the oval orthoclase cabochons and giant rat leather. We've got the spikes of bronze. We've got the image of single cut gems in tetrahedrite. We've got the image of a amulet in orthoclase on her body. We've got the image of her. So that's actually everything except for the bronze studs. So let's throw some bronze studs on wherever. How about right here along the front? Just kind of like little accent studs, as every good chair should have. We can even use the gems to kind of do a diamond design on the front. That's fun. There we go. That's starting to look like something where you'd want to sit. We'll be sure to build this in our dining room. Construct it, or actually build it, it's the right word for setting it up. Dwarves don't place furniture in their home, they build it. But it means the same thing. Okay, so apparently there's little bands of leather there too. Just extra fun size leather bands. Okay. Yeah, nice. So a little lighter at the top, and then smooth these out, clean them up a bit. Yep, and then these are the oval cut orthoclase cabochons. which we have quite a few of there. They are cheap. They're orthoclase, so it's not like you can't find that stuff lying around all over the place. Just stone, yellow stone. A beautiful shade of yellow. Okay, and real orthoclase is not quite as yellow as we tend to show it in the in-game colors, as that in-game yellow is used for numerous different things. We are currently using Krugsmash's color set. Just to give him a little credit at one point. Maybe we should add that to the credits. But yeah, so it's a lovely color set. Nice and kind of neutral, not too jarring. We might have to increase our originality by creating our own color set at some point. Find some ways that we could tweak it to our own particular taste, but it is a very good starting point for anybody who plays Dwarf Fortress. It's a good start point and a good place to finish with Krugsmash's color set. His tile set's good too, which he makes available for free on his website. Anyways, let's keep plugging away at this artifact. It's almost done, as we like to say. Let's give a little more shape to the front. And then the tetrahedrite actually, it's looking like diorite or something. It's a little too flat, the actual stone color, because it looks like stone, but it's actually ore. So it should have a bit of shine. So we'll just add some more shine, add some more contrast, as we love to do. And there, so can do some more real dark spots there. Shadows. Can you put dark spots on the bottom of these gems? Like that. Just perfectly adequate. Okay, and there's a nice little shadow there. Maybe some shadows underneath our queen, our necromancer queen. Cool chair. Very cool chair. Okay, so this needs to be, let's see, we're going to do a bit more of a fade, just to kind of add some highlights at the tops of these gems. Maybe the tops of the legs. A little bit out there too. Just giving it a slight overall shape, and then we can add a highlight, a sharp, shiny highlight to represent the fact that it's tetrahedrite. It's not just your average stone we're dealing with here. So there, kind of some light, almost sparkly in places. Because tetrahedrite is typically in sort of chunky pieces. It's not just like your average rock. It's like chunky. Okay, so we'll clean up these edges or cut them back a bit. There. And amp up the tetrahedriteness to these top edges. Maybe it shouldn't go so far. Let's do like the tops of the tops. That. There you go. And then the top of this edge. Amazingly. Okay, turn this down a bit. The bronze studs are going to need to be shined up a bit too. Okay. There's that. Smoothing those in just a slight bit. Maybe slight darkness in between the diamonds. Okay, now we'll get these bronzed up, bronze studs. There you go. Okay, and the dark part of the bronze studs. Nothing makes them look bronze like a sharp contrast of reflected colors right next to each other. Then the lightest light, we'll do a very small point, high opacity. That. Here, look at them sparkle. Sparkly bronze studs. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Just needs some of the same highlights we have on the rest of the chair to go up on the top as well. Do kind of like a border around the menacing spikes of bronze at the top. Okay, the chair is really close to done. Let's see if it on a not dark background. Maybe the milk quartzes could use just a slight bit of shading to show that they're actually milk quartzes and not just weird white spots. Because they're cut like gems. They're cut as if they were fancy scintillating gems, even though they're cheap, opaque gems. But there. So there's our milk quartzes. And we can add a little bit more white to the milk quartz just to say this is white, because they actually are white. Nothing else in this picture is really white. Okay, and there, the necromancer queen. That'd be like a good title for a fantasy novel. The necromancer queen. Okay, so here's this. A fantasy novel from the 70s. Oh yeah. And check out the Eye of Argon if you haven't already. If you like bad writing, you like to laugh at bad writing. There's one called The Eye of Argon, written in 1970, which is just magnificent. Right up there with My Immortal. Which I won't explain what that is, but if you look it up, if you like bad writing, you're in for a treat. Okay, and if you like bad movies, we've linked to one below. It's called, what is that actually called? It's called The Giant Claw. I think Ocean Bug or somebody else actually, but somebody recommended that. And it was a truly great film. If you don't expect great films to actually be great, but just hilarious. Okay, so it features a giant Kia or something like it. So this is done. Can we say it's done? Oh yes, we can. Now let's bring it on over. It looks like it wants to be tilted a bit, but that's fine. We'll just ignore that wish of this throne and bring it on over to the finale of today's Dwarven session. So we're going to go for a PNG, wherever that is. It's where it always is, you know, right there. And we're going to call it artifact throne. And let's get the name of the artifact throne while we're at it. It's called Neuralmorkez. Okay, there it is. Save. And we'll do what we always do. Go back here and save it as the usual thing. An illustration. Okay. So we'll hop on back over to the fortress, and then we'll bring in our brand new artifact. Boy, it's sad. It's been a sad day. We've had some serious accidents. You see the one there at the bottom with that fellow being overwhelmed by the pink smoke. But that was the non-tragic one where nobody died. But then there was actually a tragic one where 2 dwarves died. They were probably legendary miners too. But you know, that's the way the mines crumble. So for our next session, we'll have, yeah, there, Etter has been found badly crushed, and so is Ustooth. Let's just have a look, actually, see how how good were they at mining before we lay them to rest. Etter Letmosiden was a very legendary miner, and Ustooth Onolirid. You can understand why they would be amazingly legendary miners, having mined out that entire cavern. A gigantic, massive cavern. It almost makes you think we should stop mining like this, but apparently we shouldn't. Ocean Bug comments, the throne looks great. Well, thank you very much for that. And let's actually get that built up before we end today's session. So let's see, we have a perfectly good space for it, but we want it to be very exposed. So we'll put it at the top of the new room, right there. So it's not a gold throne. Oh, it's currently probably on its way to a stockpile or something. So we'll just give it a minute to get to that stockpile. And there's thick miasma here. Kogan of ours, it's a tooth. It must be that dog's corpse. It's making everybody unhappy. Yeah, it seems to be just that. It looked like the miasma went away earlier, but apparently not. We have another baby born. It's always good. Let's see if we can't build that chair yet. Build. chair. Nope, still just 5 gold thrones. Well, maybe next time we'll do that. Build artifact chair. Lay dwarves to rest. And yeah, there's some other stuff that we're going to do next time too. Oh, trade, of course. Yeah, so that's all lined up. And dwarves are sullenly trudging through a massive cloud of rotten dog miasma. It's even worse for the one whose pet that was. But hey, what can you do? Sometimes things have changed recently. Dwarves don't get upset as easily as they used to. So hopefully it won't be a problem. All we can do is cross our little dwarven fingers, pray that no one else dies in the collapse of a mining accident. And, well, we can pray for a lot of things. Nigalak, be praised. She's right here, our statue of her. And there's a dwarf praying. Maybe even 2. Yeah, there's one worshipping Nigalak. As it should be. So with that happy thought, we'll leave you and say thank you very much for being here. As we always like to do when we wrap up, also give you a reminder that there's all these buttons you can click on to support the channel if you're one of those lovely people who is watching and has not already done so. If you have already done so, well, thank you very much.